Hey, it's Anthony. Welcome back to Project Random. Today's video is going to be about why you should care about sports, specifically women's sports. For those who don't know, over the last month or so during the summer, there have been two very large, we'll say, sporting events for women on the go. And those would be the Women's Rugby World Cup and the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. So, the Rugby World Cup was in France, and it finished today actually, and the FIFA Under-20 World Cup is ongoing in Canada. So the thing that gets me about this is the fact that one, very, very little television time is given to these sports. For example, I get 6 sports channels, I think, and maybe once per day there will be a women's event on. Yet, it's nothing to see poker on television for like 12 hours a day. And that, to me, just doesn't make any sense. The sports channels would rather show poker than show the best women in the world at their sport competing at the highest level tournament in their sport. For a tournament that only comes around once every 2 or 4 years, depending on which you're talking about, it's just pathetic. Another issue I have is the fact that they can't even fill the stadiums. For example, watching the final between Canada and England in the Rugby World Cup today, they're being played in Paris, France, in a stadium that holds, I believe, now I could be wrong, I believe it's 20,000 people. It's either 12 or 20, I'm not sure. But looking around that stadium today during the final game of a once every 4 year tournament that is the biggest tournament for women's rugby in the world, and you see a stadium that can't even fit. The stadium wasn't even full. It was about 2/3 full, and it's just pathetic. It's a city of 12 million people. Paris has 12 million people in it, and they can't get 12,000 or 20,000, however many it is, to go watch the best game of women's rugby that you're going to see in 4 years. It's just disgusting. And when at the same time the men who are getting paid, not for the World Cups, but in professional leagues, get paid a lot of money and can sell out stadiums of $70,000 and $80,000 every week. I mean, it's not like the games are any less interesting to watch. They're both very excellent to watch on television and in person. I just don't get the patriarchal sports focus that media and fans give to male sports instead of female sports. The same thing for the Women's World Cup that's ongoing in Canada. It's ongoing in 5 different cities, being played at various stadiums, of course. And I was watching the quarter-final game between who was that? England and I'm not sure who the other team was. Forgive me. That tells you how much I was paying attention to it. There was other stuff on the go that I was paying attention to, but it was on and I was watching it. Anyway, I noticed that the stadium was embarrassingly empty, I'll say. The game was in Toronto, so the stadium, BMO Field, or Canada Soccer Stadium, whatever they call it when it's a World Cup event, it has a capacity of 22,000, and I would be very surprised if there was any more than 4,000 people at the stadium. It was honestly embarrassingly empty. And I know Canada's not a big soccer nation, or football nation, depending on what you prefer. But to me, the fact that they can't even, this is the best girls in the world playing the most popular sport in the world. Toronto's a very diverse city. It's not like it's all, 10th generation Canadians who only care about hockey. There are a lot of people from a lot of different countries, and they very much care about football. Yet, they won't go watch some girls play football, some women play football, sorry. But I bet you, if you had the World Cup games on there, the men's World Cup games on the Jumbotron at any stadium in Toronto, you could easily fill that twice over for football. So, I mean, the discrepancy there it's disgusting, and people need to start paying attention to women's sports in the same way that the people pay attention to men's sports. An interesting fact that I read online was that the LPGA, the Ladies Professional Golf Association in America, and the PGA, they're both professionals golf associations, so their competitors are paid. But in 2013, the PGA had a money purse, which is the prizes given out to competitors, of I think 246, somewhere in the range of $250 million. The LPGA was around $50 million, so 1/5. And that's probably the best of the professional sports, with the exception of maybe tennis. Tennis is very equal in terms of the tournaments are ongoing. Like the men's and women's tournaments are playing at the same time in the same venues. The same crowds are watching the games because it's like a women's game and then a men's game, and they're competing for similar titles, similar purses. That's the way it should be. Everybody should follow tennis's example. And I think there's a lot of reasons for this. It could be the sporting associations themselves, it could be the fans, and it could be the media. And everybody's pointing different fingers at each other. But the main thing is, if people care, everyone else will care. If the fans start caring about women's sports, the media is going to start caring about women's sports, and I won't be struggling to find a women's hockey game every now and then in the winter on television, or I won't be struggling to find, rugby or football or whatever it happens to be. There will be a women's game on at some point during a day to go along with the 10 or 12 other men's games that you might see. And I think that's something that needs to change, and it needs to change quickly, because there are a lot of very hardworking, very talented women out there who aren't getting the chance to do what they are so good at and what they love doing, because they can't afford to put themselves through the training and support themselves because they're not getting paid. And that's the bottom line, is that these women are the best in the world at what they do, and they should be getting paid to do it, and you should care about it. Thanks for watching.